Looking good, Italian job.
Feeling good, Tommy boy. How are you, brother?
Man, I'm actually fired up about a lot of stuff. I'm fired up about today's conversation. I'm riding high after last week's conversation with Jared from the Savannah Bananas. I'm interested to see what the men of F3 Savannah, the Coastal Empire, can do with that leverage. I just think we have so many things we can further introduce to F3 because of this podcast, because of our conversations. Today is exactly right up that alley. So I'm doing really well. How about you?
Had a good week of posting this week. We did a blood drive yesterday in the fort as part of our 10-year anniversary. Tomorrow is a big convergence where we're bringing some of the original guys back from 10 years from the very beginning and doing a big convergence there. It's been a good week. The News of the Nation just dropped, which is a bi-weekly. If you're not on that distribution, you can go on f3nation.com and kind of click and join that newsletter. So I'll give you a rundown on it. We have a GrowRuck 31, GrowRuck Training Event 31 in Cherokee. It's the AAR, the After Action Review. Some updates on GrowRuck scheduling. So for those who don't know yet, our next one is in Virginia Beach. It's going to be October the 7th through the 9th. The one for Valley Forge, Pennsylvania has been postponed until 2023, but GTE 34 in Katy, Texas is coming up in December 12/9 through 12/11. We have a 1-minute video from Nairobi, Kenya. We also have the discussion that we're going to talk about today, which is our F3 packs responding to fears, things that have happened in communities across the country and how we can step up when the world steps out. 2 new regions that we are launching. Both are international. We have Wiesbaden, Germany, and we have Ottawa, Canada. So America's hat now is represented extremely well. Podcast rundown, and the Q-Source topic of the week is consistency. So it all lines up well with what we're talking about today. So Tommy boy, what are we talking about today?
I was hoping you would say so. No, we've got something that really it came out of a tragedy and turned into a maelstrom of what I would say is a news tornado. And I'll say it this way, because nowadays we hear the word news, we think of media, and that goes a million different directions. The media exists to sell advertisements so they can bring in eyeballs, so they can perpetuate the message, right? We can get lost in that whole melee of activity because business is business, and that's just how we run. If you don't have eyeballs, nobody's listening to your story. And if you don't have someone paying for you to turn on your satellites, you're not going to have a story to tell to anybody who can listen. So tragically, out of the Memphis region, a wonderful young woman by the name of Eliza Fletcher was taken far too soon, and she was out on a morning run. And while the world was reeling from her subsequent murder, and transposed with that, I'm going to make it quickly personal, but not really. I came across a survey that was aimed at women. What would you do if men didn't exist on the planet for, I think it was 1 day?
Yeah.
And it was a fun little survey that turned tragically true very quickly. A lot of the comments that got the most reaction were walk to my car safely, go out with my girlfriends to a restaurant or bar, run at night, run in the morning, wear whatever I wanted to wear to work. And that really hit hard as a dad raising a now 17-year-old young lady, that I want to be bold and brave and awesome. And as I was kind of caught up in that spin cycle, I saw Carpex post this awesome message and quickly dug in. And it's like, this just needs to be shared. I shared it on our Slack channel here in Greensboro that said, in no uncertain terms, we are F3. You may have seen us out in the early mornings. And if knowing that we are a group of good guys will prevent you from staying home out of fear, come on out. This is our schedule. This is where we will be. And so what a perfect way to personify our message in F3 of building the next 43 feet of road and then turning around or pausing, if you will, and lighting the way for the next group of people to come behind us. And I know, myself included, I certainly think that, well, the next 43 feet is then going to be built by the next F3 guys. That's not necessarily true. The next 43 feet could be built for the people whose roadblocks were removed because we were here. And so did a little bit of digging, And so today's episode, we'll just call Lighting the Way, for lack of a better term, although I think it's a pretty good term. And so without further ado, after that long introduction, I'm super excited to bring on Parker out of Carpex. Parker, quick name-orama. Who brought you out and how'd you get that name?
Hey, fellas, thank you so much for having me here. Going to be a tough follow-up this week after Savannah Banana last week, but we'll see how it goes. But excited to be here. Thanks for the intro there, TB. So, Parker, hospital name Will Thompson from Carpex 43. The name I was brought out by our very own Water Wings, who was Carpex and is now First FQ, our New Region South Cary, or we call them Scary, down in our EH by Water Wings. And I've been doing F3 about 5 years, and was named after, I'm an Eastern North Carolina boy, was named after Parker's Barbecue in my hometown of Wilson, North Carolina.
Famous barbecue. That's I mean,
no doubt. Wilson.
Yeah.
We got a guy that loves to name dudes after barbecue restaurants. So we got a Wilbur in Carpex, and we got a Parker.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my story.
So Parker, when you heard about what happened in Memphis, how did the message that you guys crafted that went on social media that got picked up by regions across the country also got picked up by media outlets across the country? How did that come to be? Like, was it just kind of gnawing at you, we should do something? I mean, how did it happen that you guys put a message out that was just so appropriate to represent everything that we are as F3? How did it happen?
Yeah, as is typical in F3, I think you guys, you're giving us far too much credit for forethought there. No, so what happened was, we had seen the message, and our guy One Direction put a message up on Slack, and just to start a conversation within our group, just saying, touched by this tragedy, feeling like we're a force for good. And it's just starting a conversation around that, and it generated a lot of chatter, around what we do in the mornings and those kinds of things, and guys were really just kind of chiming in. A number of folks shut in, and Hermes and others, and I just said, guys, this sounds a lot like a service project. This sounds a lot like a service to our community. We should be doing something to let our women know that we're there for them, that we, it just seemed just very simple, right? We should figure out a way to let people know. And the first one that jumped on it, of course, was Shut In. No moss growing in his butt. So
that's right.
So he jumped in and basically said, you know what? I know you're not on social, so I'm gonna drop this out there, and this is what I wrote on Nextdoor. So he dropped it on Nextdoor first. And then like just a few hours later, he was like, guys, you won't believe this. Turns out that like naming a snake is not the most important thing you can do on Nextdoor. It's
but the trash truck is coming too early. It's waking up the family. That's got to be in the top 5, right?
Yeah, that's right. So so he picked it up, and then I think it just blew up from there. So it was within a couple of days that it was being talked around the nation. So cool. So
I'd like to read it if you don't mind, just so the folks who haven't seen it yet have an idea of what it says. Tommy Boy summed it up really well, but I'll give F3 Carpex. This is exactly how I read it on social media. To any early morning walkers or runners out there, especially women who, like us, have been crushed by the tragic loss of Eliza Fletcher, we wanted to share our F3 schedule with you. You may have seen some guys out in the early morning at parks or random parking lots before. We want you to know you're safe around us. If knowing a group of men is out there, maybe it eases your mind a bit for you to use our location as a place to safely run and walk, especially with staying dark longer now. If we yell out good morning to you, it's just to assure you that we see you and that we have your back. Here's when and where we are. And there was a list of the schedule and for a couple different regions up in that area. So I mean, you guys literally just said, hey, we're there. And if we make you comfortable, we just want you to know we got your back. We got our eyes on you. We are the guardians of the gloom. We got you. We got your back. We got your 6, which I just thought was awesome because
Yeah, I got a little misty.
you
Can you read that
you
again? I got a little misty.
yeah, yeah, you guys took care of the community because listen, our mission is to plant, grow, and serve small workout groups for men for the invigoration of male community leadership. That's exactly what you guys did. Though our core principles say that F3 is men only, it doesn't mean that we don't have the backs of our communities. And by being the guardian of the gloom, by being present, by saying we will be here every day at this location at this time, when you hear me say good morning, it's my way of saying, I got you. I see you. I got you. And if you need anything, any one of us is here to help out. And I think that's why it was so moving for so many guys across F3 Nation, because as Tommy Boy alluded, a lot of the things you see in the media are not positive. And this, quite honestly, doesn't sell ad space. We're not scaring people. We're literally saying, we're here for you. So before we go any further, kudos.
100% shut in, 100% shut it, credit to Shut In on that. I mean, I'm not that eloquent. So he wrote that amazingly, and glad it was picked up verbatim or modified as necessary in a lot of regions, and I appreciate, that so many regions were able to pick that up and just run with it and be willing to not be scared to say, we just need to copy, paste, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat. And we've actually even just advocated doing that in our own region because, we all look at Slack and we miss messages on Slack, right? And so we need to lather, rinse, repeat. Just, I doubt, 10%, if 10% of the women in our area or men who want to be out at that time and are also solo, have heard that, I'd be surprised if we're at 10%, right? So we need to make sure we do what we can to get the other 90%. And so spread the love, man, spread the message, and then hopefully it puts some more eyes on F3 and gets more guys out too. It's a great tool, I hope,
Absolutely.
That's the whole point. I love the idea, and we've talked about it a whole bunch on this podcast, but the idea of find the need, fill a need, right? And I think, of course, great credit goes out to Shut In for crafting the message. The message came from your brain in the form of, this seems like a service opportunity. And one of the things I wanted to kind of uncover here, as us being the Stuff Worth Trying podcast, we work in a world where we hear often, my door is always open. However, the subtext often seems to be, and maybe inaccurately, but certainly is there, but only knock on my door if you have a fully formed, ready to roll out idea that will net our company more money or more impact or more eyeballs. And this F3 concept of the find the need, fill a need, or as Dark Helmet shared with me yesterday, the hashtag FanFan, was worked out perfectly. You had an idea or saw something that other people hadn't seen. The next guy said, oh man, I'm inspired by that. I'll take it and run with it and put it out on Nextdoor and other platforms. And then the communities responded in spades to the form of just some amazing comments and realizations and questions. And like you just said, my favorite part is, what a hell of a great way to new men. How many ladies saw that message and thought, wait, who are these guys? Honey, come check this out. You need to go figure out where these guys are. Here's their schedule. Go post.
Yeah. I think it just embodies what it is about us that is different, right? Like, my wife, oftentimes when I get stressed about something that's going on at F3 or we're trying to organize, she'll bring me down a notch and say, well, it's a free workout group, right? And but to those of us who are who love this thing so much and can see the impact it has on our lives and on the people around us, I think, we know it's a lot more than that, right? Back to your point on picking up the idea, I think that's just part of our culture, right? I mean, I think we just have to embrace the idea that we can't be afraid to not put out a fully formed plan, right? Not to put out a fully formed idea. We got to be, if there's a piece of something we're thinking about it, put it out there. Somebody else will pick it up and run with it. I mean, how many times have you been to a workout where a guy kind of half delivers a little half cooked plan but there's like a nugget in there of a piece of a beat down. You're like, I'm gonna grab that and use that next, right? So we just do that from the day we set foot at a workout, right? And so I think it just builds this Well, it builds a lot of things. It builds a collaborative culture. It builds a culture of love, and builds a culture of like respect, where guys can truly be excited about the success of another man. Which I think
Yeah.
is different in a lot of ways from the way our world operates. And yeah, so I could not be happier. And now it's got us talking about how we can, what's the next thing we can do with this kind of service opportunity. I know that's happening all over the nation in a bunch of different ways. And we're just a bunch of guys working out in the morning that then try to do more, right?
Yeah.
I think
So
that's the
Tom,
beauty of it. Yeah, is sorry, IJ, but I just want to underscore that's the beauty of and Parker, you said it. There's a million different opportunities to kind of present themselves. Or if you ever feel agitated or inspired by something that's happening elsewhere outside of the F3 realm, can you apply the F3 principles, our core values, those sorts of things, our credo, our mission to that, to either change it for the better for others, or ride the wave and gain more attention to bring more men out and unlock them. And I think that we're so busy, like you said, present company included, I get wrapped up sometimes in planning, quote unquote, the best workout ever.
yeah.
And it's like, all right, calm down, Tonto, and let's see if there's another way that we can put something out there and take this energy and apply it to an idea that will let ladies know that they're safe to be out in the mornings. And if they see this circle with an F and a 3 inside of it on my chest, they know that they're okay, they're safe. And God forbid, should something go down, that we're going to be there because we've got their back. So
Yeah.
hats off.
Dark
will
Helmet
say-
tells the story.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Dark Helmet tells a story of one day there was a lady broken down on the side of the road, and he pulled up and they didn't know each other. And she saw him and he walked up and said, "How can I help you?" And she said, "I knew I was safe when I saw F3 on your truck."
Mhm.
I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know, that logo is you're safe. You're safe in this spot. Parker, I was stepping on your toes. You're about to say something.
No, I was just saying that this is a little bit of a funny aside. So one of our SLT members, Red Rider, his wife is the FIA Nantan in Carpex, and she her name is Crisco, and he posted a thing in our thread after this. Was basically like, we appreciate what you're doing. Love what you're look like. This is just harkens back to our guys. Love what you're trying. We don't need you to protect us. And so I think we have to be, pretty careful about the message of like, we're not like trying to be like knights in shining armor out there. Come where we are, it's, because you'll be safe. Like, that's, first of all, we can't guarantee that, right? We're not professionals. We're not there. That's, but second of all, it really just is about, we see you, we support you. We do provide, hopefully, an area, that is a highly populated area if we've got a solid bunch of guys at AOs, and so that's just a kind of a tweak there. I wanted to get that in there because I thought it was funny. It's like, a bunch of women listen to this, hopefully too, and they're like, we don't need you to protect us. It's like, yeah,
good point.
You're right. Like that.
Good point.
Yeah, strength in numbers. I mean, that's at the end of the day, if some idiot wants to do anything, like the strength in numbers will repel that. And that's the thing. And that's the other point too, is we could have colossal impact by helping to grow FIA through this messaging. FIA can certainly take this message and say, hey, if you're out there running by yourself and that now fear is now keeping you from doing that, come out and join us. We're a group of ladies that work out together, and we're going after it to be the best versions of ourselves and lift each other up in all aspects of our life. So 100%. And it is just, I keep going back to the same point, but we get so lost in some of the minutia of things. And at the end of the day, it's like, let's get 1% better. And what a strong message. That was, maybe a 1% thought or a 1% of a moment where you said, this seems missional. We could probably do something with this, that then turned into the next guy taking the baton and the next guy taking the baton and then the next region. And now it's blowing up, like IJ said, on media outlets across the country. So guys, if you haven't done this yet, cut and paste it. Like imitation is the best form of flattery. Don't even rethink it. Just unless you feel like there's a different message for your region, but post it. and let
You
people
probably
know
should
who
put
you
your
are.
region's web link.
Well, there is that.
Hey,
That's a technicality that's worth noting. Yes.
Hey TB, you took it and posted it in Greensboro in your home region. What kind of reactions did you get? I noticed that one of the local media outlets interviewed you.
Yeah.
So face for radio, but they still put you on TV. So good
I
on you.
know.
But
In
what kind of
daylight.
reactions? Yeah, I know, right? What reactions have you seen on social media or from people who saw it and reached out to you personally? What kind of feedback have you received?
Yeah. We won't talk about the actual news piece because they called us a men's jogging group. But that being said, here's my favorite. And so I've got Nextdoor pulled up, and these are from women across Greensboro, Oak Ridge, Summerfield. Great information and awesome message. The best thing I've read all day. I might start morning walking again just because of this. I was out running early Saturday morning and think I may have seen this group at Mendenhall. Turns out she did. Thank you for the information and the support. The best group of guys I know. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but it's just the idea that this is the stuff that isn't talked about. So if you're not talking about it, it's not top of mind. And like I know we joked about it earlier, but how pissed off people can get about when their garbage comes. I'm also a moderator on Nextdoor. I don't know why. It's horrible. people are awful. And this counteracts that, but it goes beyond just counteracting and provides an outlet for where we should be, for providing for others, for living third, and leaning into breaking the status quo of just complaining. So yeah, that's what I've seen. And I've only seen half of what Parker and the guys in Carpex have seen. We've got another story coming up tomorrow. Hopefully that goes well. But people are very interested because we're talking about something that's important, that isn't all the other crap.
Yeah. And I just want to take this and kind of like, if we pivot a little bit to why it is that, I feel like this action that I feel like this is just one thing that we have kind of done and we've put out there as an F3 community as a whole that just highlights how a really small observation can then turn in hopefully to an improved impact, right? We're about impact here, right? And so we're having, as a lot of regions do, men that come out and get after it and then have trained for things and then get injured. And one of the things I've struggled with is, how to really stay completely engaged if you are, on the IR, or if you are, having to go down range a lot for work, or if you are, coming off a surgery or injury or whatever. And so, building the sort of, I would consider this the third F piece, right? It's a mix of second F and third F, but really sort of building that service side, that living outside yourself side is going to give guys a continual anchor that will be in place regardless of if they happen to be on the IR. Because we all go through that part of the flux, right? We all go through these ups and downs, and after Blue Ridge Relay you're beat up, or after a CSOP you're beat up, or whatever, right? And so, I just like to see us as a particularly within Carpex, like we're a pretty strong first F group, and then we are super strong cafeteria group, and we're growing in our third F Bible study service kind of opportunities too, some strong leadership from our guys in that area. But this is something that's different, right? This is something where we see a little tiny nugget of an opportunity, and then we're like, all right, let's take this and go. And I'm sure there's, guys have got lots of great ideas. And so the goal is to just produce action on that. But it gets back to, let's do it in a way, it gives all men a way to have impact in the community, right? We say we're open for all men, but we also, when we're out there doing a crap ton of burpees and then they see us running, guys running 6, 10, 12, 20 miles, they're like, man, that seems a little crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it is a little crazy, but when we do things like this, it really shows we are open to all men.
Yeah, it's hard to be working through the Iron Packs Challenge right now and throwing around cinder blocks and bear crawling for 4,000 miles, and then turn around and be like, yeah, anybody can come, just show up.
Last week was brutal. Was brutal. Week 1, oh my God.
I'd rather go to invasive dental surgery than do whatever that is you guys are doing around that track.
Listen, if
You're
you
like,
do
"No, no, no,
enough
come
cinder
on
block,
out."
you do enough cinder block work, you might get some dental surgery. That's how it works.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I don't call it iron packs. I call it my dentist's boat payment.
Yeah, it's
But
called the Cigna. It's
yeah,
the
there you
Cigna
go.
initiative.
Well, listen, we don't need to beat this into the ground other than I do want to just remind anybody who's listening, don't overthink or don't hide behind doubt of not having the best idea. That's not what this is about. It's about creating a tribe of men who aim to be, again, at least 1% better every day. And maybe that 1%, and you don't even realize it, is opening your mouth and saying it's not fully formed, but I saw this and it made me think of this idea and I don't know what to do with it. Look, Grow Ruck didn't become a thing immediately. Somebody somewhere just said, what if we partnered up with that awesome experience that GoRuck is doing and tied it into, I don't know, some of the things that are coming out of F3, and over multiple iterations. I mean, the first 10 weren't even fully formed, right? And we're still building now, we're still learning. So the F3 door truly is always open. So if you're hearing this and you've been sitting on an idea and you can't drop it, there's a reason for that. The Sky Q is poking your six to speak up and say, tell somebody. Don't keep it inside, tell somebody, because it's going to change at least one life. And if it's the one life, or if it's 100 lives, so be it. That's all that matters. And look, get over the ego. Let the jester stop whispering in your ear. Well, if you share it, Parker, then, somebody else is going to take it and draft the post. The next thing you know, it's Shuddy, Shut In took it and he'll get all the, knock it off, guys. Like, put the word out there, surround yourself with the men that can get it done, and then get it done. And then give it away. Like, that's what we're called to do. So I applaud you, man. I'm so glad that you said yes to coming on to talk about this, because our hope is that other dudes are inspired to share what's on their heart, because it will have an impact in communities across. And at the end of the day, that's our mission. So
thank you guys for what you're doing. It's amazing. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Keep up the awesome work.
So
Italian
Tommy
job.
boy,
Yeah.
I'll close it out with this. We started first talking about the message itself being that, hey, be visible, be recognized, be present. We are here to, that was the first point. The second point is the one that we're driving home, which is, if you have an idea, run with it. We're not a group that requires a committee where you have to sit through 6 weeks of meetings with a mission statement and all these pieces that really don't do anything in a charter. No, free to lead. And that's one of the things we lean heavily on. You don't need to ask permission, just do it. You see a need and you fill that need. So one of the things that's on the back of one of the many F3 shirts that I own is clear the path and light the way. That's it. There's not a piece that says, but first go and ask your Nantan, or first make sure that no, clear the path, light the way. But do we need to get someone to read our copy? No. Put it out there, clear the path, light the way, you're free to lead. So Parker, the concept, you may say it just was an idea, it may have been not fully baked, but it didn't matter. You put it out, and then some other people said, yeah, let's roll with that. And so that's what it's all about. It's just filling that need, finding a need and filling it. So honored that you were willing to say something and that you were willing to join us today and share the story. So fellas, I appreciate you both. I hope that the message that was put out from Carpex and has been repeated elsewhere and will most likely continue to be repeated, I hope it leads to not only more safety in our communities, or a feeling of safety in our communities, but additional EHs, new men joining into what we call just a change of ways. I mean, it's what men are lacking: the fitness, the fellowship, the faith, just being part of a group that loves you regardless, faults and all, warts and all, loves you because you are who you are and you're here. So Tommy boy, you always like to close it out in a certain way. So maybe this time you'll get it. I'm going to toss it to you for you to say your thing, and then we'll log it out.
Wait, are we talking about vape again? Because I've
No.
I got something.
Yeah, please do.
Another man doesn't tell you this today. I love you.
Yeah, nailed
Amen
it,
to that.
Parker. Bingo.
Love you too,
it.
Parker. You are a beautiful dancing idiot because you have inspired many, many men to come along and dance with you. And it just so happens that it's serving the greater good. So T-claps to you for that. Nation, if you're listening, we love you as well. And if you're not good, be good at it.
There it is. Take it easy, fellas.
See ya.